congratulated in the attack. Motorcade rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital. Granted was pronounced dead. All 30 minutes after the shooting.
Oh, how it goes in this stubborn town.
Hello there. It's a new year, which feels really strange to say because I think we're in the 37th year of January alone. My name is Paula Jean, and if you're new here, this channel is where I share about some of the stuff that I make. I have been sewing since I was about 9 years old, but it was only maybe 8 or 9 years ago that I decided to give up ready to wear completely for myself. Lots of reasons for that, but the TLDR is that I love exploring and discovering and expressing myself through clothing and fashion, but I hate clothes shopping, and there are far too many dressing rooms across the world that have too many of my tears in them because nothing fit right. I also sew as a very important part of my mental and emotional health. Those are two areas that I have not insignificant challenges. I do get outside help with that, but what sewing does is it gives me something that I am in complete control of within a controlled environment when either my personal life or the external world is just too overwhelming for my nervous system. And I make these videos to hopefully inspire and to share a little bit of my creative process, but also to have a little bit of community around this practice that I love so much, because while I have a ton of wonderful and amazing friends that I love spending time with, none of them sews. So I don't have very many places where I can share this. So today I'm going to be sharing some of the shiny new workout gear that I have made this month. If you saw my last video, I did a little fabric haul and there was a mystery athletic fabric bundle that I had received. So I'm using some of that, and this will be part one of things that I've made with that. And I'm going to put a time code up here somewhere because I feel compelled to share and clarify some things about myself, not just as a sewist, but as a person in these insane times here in the US. But I respect your nervous system, and I know a lot of people watch these videos to get away from all that. And even though nothing I say, I certainly don't think it's going to be controversial or anything, but I'm not the arbiter of these things. And like I said, I want you to have this be an enjoyable experience. So if you're like, no, la, 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 I came here, I just want to be here for sewing stuff, then just fast forward to that time code. If you've decided to stay, thank you. I feel that we are at a moment in history, on this timeline anyway, where it is becoming ever more important to know where people stand. And I'm not talking about politically, I'm talking about fundamentally, like where people's morals and values and their worldview of humanity stand. And I'm not talking about the kind of performative allyship that businesses and creators and sometimes just individuals will post in order to not lose followers, not lose subscribers. I feel like we are just so far beyond that right now. In this country, we are about to cross the Rubicon, and maybe they have already in places like Minnesota. My heart goes out to you if you're a Minnesotan. Where we are going from helping our neighbors to possibly hiding our neighbors from this brutal, amoral, lawless regime that we are currently being ruled by. And I use that word intentionally because we are not being governed, we are being ruled by a wannabe totalitarian dictator. And I am not a doctor. I don't make any diagnoses of anything on here, but I am going to leave in the description box below the free PDF online version of the DSM-5, and also a couple of shorter overviews of narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder. The second one is the umbrella under which sociopathy and psychopathy now fall in modern psychology. So if you're interested, you can take a look at those. I see all of the boxes checked, but like I said, I'm not a doctor. And since we are in the show us your papers phase of this nightmare, I think it's really important for vulnerable communities, particularly, to know who is safe. And by safe, I just mean people who hold compassion and equity and equal justice as fundamental human values, no matter the price of eggs. I'm also talking about people who wholeheartedly reject the ridiculous notion that somehow empathy is a human flaw. We are also in an attention economy, so no matter whether we decide to buy something from an ad that we see on a video like this or anywhere in our feed on any of these platforms, our ears and eyeballs are used as metrics by which these platforms sell advertising space to companies. So even if you are not economically or geographically privileged enough to be able to take part in corporate boycotts or switch over to buying more local and more independent, which tends to be more expensive and should be. And let's face it, most people cannot do that in a sustained way. But your attention is a commodity. And you probably know that any creator on any platform, a portion of the money that they make if they have a monetized account or channel is ad revenue from the ads that you see. So even though creators don't get a choice in what ads are shown, they make money off of your eyeballs on those ads. So I will just tell you that I am very discerning about where I spend my attention budget. I really believe in that quote that some people say is Alexander Hamilton and others say it's Malcolm X. It's probably both. But the quote is that if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything. So right now you are spending your attention on an unabashed progressive. And that is not a political party. That is a worldview and a way of thinking. What this means to me is, and I actually wrote these down because I get very, very emotional and I don't want to fall apart here. I think it is inexcusable that the roads to social, racial, gender, age, ability, and pay equity are still so excruciatingly long and forever paved over with greed and bigotry and superiority complexes. I don't believe any individual does the kind or amount of work that warrants them having billions of dollars. I do not call immigrants at any point in their process illegal aliens. I believe in bodily autonomy. I believe healthcare is a human right and having it tied to employment is asinine. I believe in a higher power and science. I think the science proves that gender is not binary. I think the only threats posed by rainbows and drag queens and books are some joy, some color, some glitter, and some enlightenment. I do not think love can or should be legislated by any government, church, or religion. I do not use AI. I know that there are some apps and software that have AI elements inextricably built into them, but I have never even used ChatGPT. I think AI is going to be the wrecking ball that rots our brains and our livelihoods. It's already done that to mine, and our environment. And I think it needs heavy regulation, and so far we're not getting that. I know with my whole heart and soul that there is not only enough, there are plenty of resources on God's green earth for every single person on it to live their lives fully and freely and creatively with wonder and curiosity and the ability to explore and discover and pursue whatever makes them happy. I think it's the whole point of being here. And I also know that we are not meant to toil away in corporate servitude for 40 or 50 or 60 years in order to earn that right. I think it's a right that we are born with. I protest, I march, I annoy my congresspeople, I sign petitions, I advocate, I go to town halls, and I vote in every single election for which I am eligible. I do not use perfection or purity as a metric for any politician or system, mostly because absolutely nothing human or human-made is perfect, and do not even get me started on purity tests. So that is who I am. It is not an exhaustive list, but it's a few things that I feel it's important to share at this time. I do not debate any of these things. Who I am is not up for debate, certainly not on the internet. So I want to say it goes without saying, or should go without saying, but I don't know that anything goes without saying anymore. But if you are about to leave a nasty comment about this segment of the video, and I have a feeling that most people who would have done that either left or have already left the comment, but just please know that I will delete it. My metric for that is if it's something that you said in my home to my face or to one of my guests, I would ask you to leave. If it falls under that umbrella, I will just delete it. So I hope I have been clear, and I hope that that clarity has either made you feel good about watching my silly little sewing videos, or has definitively not made you want to spend your attention budget here and, given you some kind of permission structure, if that was even needed, to spend your attention budget elsewhere. Thank you if you stayed for my little mini TED Talk, and let me show you what I've been rage sewing. So if you saw my last video, which was a fabric haul / plans video, you will recognize this and know that this awesome green and tan striped fabric started its life as a thrifted pillowcase. And you will also know that this is the top version of the JOAN wiggle dress. This was only one view of it. It has another sweetheart view, but this is the slash neck view. And I absolutely love how this turned out. It was a really easy pattern, and I did not have to make, I made one tiny adjustment, did not have to make a sway back adjustment at all, which is not normal for me, and I was thrilled not to have to do it. When I made my muslin, I felt like this is a slash neck, so it is supposed to kind of come across the neck, and I know that bothers some people. It does not bother me, but it came up a little bit too far, so I think I took out maybe 3/8 of an inch or something. I just made a slash kind of above the dart and took that out, and that worked great. And so I'm thrilled with how this turned out. I did have to get a little bit creative with the pattern placement because normally all of these stripes and all of these panels across it would be all going in the same direction, but I couldn't manage that, so I just changed the direction, and I think it actually looks really cute. My hope is that at some point in my sewing journey, I come across some perfectly matched green ponte that I can make like a high-waisted skirt out of the skirt portion of the dress, and then I can choose whether I wear this as a top or kind of a faux dress. So this is the JOAN wiggle top. On to the sportswear. So I got 2 bras and 2 tank tops, like workout tops made. Starting with the endurance sports bra, I chose the olive green spandex lycra and made an endurance sports bra. This is from Green Style Patterns, and this always looks terrible just hanging or flat. It looks great on though. And I had made this pattern before. The only changes that I made from when I made it last time were to use I think I used a 2-inch elastic instead of 1.5, or 1.5 instead of 1.25. Anyway, a wider elastic band because that was what I had on hand. And this bra gets its support from foam cups, which I know not everybody loves, but I don't mind it at all, and it really does give very good support. If I still ran, I could totally run in this bra. And I didn't have any coordinating fold over elastic, which is how you're supposed to finish the neck and the armholes. But I used a binding technique using the self fabric, the olive green lycra, and swimsuit elastic. I have a video from a couple of years ago when I was making a pair of swim bottoms, and I used this binding technique on there. So I will link that video down below, and I always have chapters marked in my videos so you can see what the technique is, but I used that on this and it worked out great. So that is the Endurance Sports Bra. The other athletic bra that I made, I decided to use the really soft kind of periwinkle and black and gray mix lycra jersey to do the Power Sports Bra, also by Green Style Patterns. And you guys, I have to say that in making all of these, I made so many mistakes. I'm trying not to call them dumb mistakes, but they were mistakes that I just don't usually make. And I think because of all of the horrific news, and I was just so distracted, it was really tough for me to get focused. That's why I'm not really showing you much or any process video or B-roll, because I just really wanted to sew without thinking about anything else. But even trying to do that, I was just making mistakes left, right, and center. It all turned out fine, but I've never done so much unpicking. And if you'll remember in my plans video, I had planned to make this into kind of more of a bra top. I just couldn't. It seems like an easy thing. I should have been able to do it, but just nothing was straightforward with anything that I was doing, even though these are all things that I enjoyed making. But yeah. Anyway, so the Power Sports Bra, I think this was the first time that I made this pattern, and it came together really well. This pattern comes with a few different options for the back. I chose to do one of the strappy back options, the one that kind of weaves together. They also have one that's more of a U back, but I did the kind of woven one. And I think the only things that I did was I widened the elastic again at the bottom. I used the same elastic that I used on my Endurance Sports Bra. I love the fit of it. It is super comfortable. Not as supportive as the Endurance. Like I wouldn't wear it to do impact things, but for yoga or weight training, it's totally cool. I thought that maybe it was too small because I just felt like the armhole, the armholes weren't cut quite high enough. And I thought that meant that I would need to go up a cup size in this. But then upon closer inspection, I realized that the princess seams were in the right place and the side seams are in the right place. So I determined that what I needed was a little bit more space like at the top. So I made the adjustment on the pattern by taking the center front bodice piece and I cut a little slice just off at the top, kind of near where the straps attach. I moved that to the outside about 3/4 of an inch, and then to true that piece to the side front bodice piece, I just added a little bit extra. I think it ended up being maybe 3/8 or 1/2 an inch. So I think that is going to give me the coverage under the arm that I'm going to need, and then it will be ideal. I still love this one, and I actually have been wearing this one around the house quite a lot. So that is the Power Sports Bra. The first of 2 workout tops that I made was the Rest Vest by Made It Patterns, which is no longer available, but I used the really pretty variegated, lightweight athletic knit. It's got a bit of a texture to it. I used that for the front, and then I used for the back some of the black, I want to call it a bubble knit, but it's not. It's just got some texture on it. I used that for the back, and then I used more of that olive spandex jersey for the triangular contrast side panel. And as I mentioned, I wanted to use that really nice binding finish that they had on the armholes and where the back attaches to the front in the back. This is normally supposed to be on the inside according to the instructions, but I really loved the way that it looked, so I wanted to put it on the outside, and I think that turned out really, really nice. It's super lightweight and airy, and I just really love the way that this turned out. And then for the last workout top, I deviated from my plan a little, well, for the moment anyway. I might get to that other one, but I had originally planned to do the Eva top by Cool Stitches and make that into another color blocked workout top, but I had so much of the cool like purple and green variegated fabric left that I decided to do a ZOEY tank by True Bias, but I did a little hack of it. So this is supposed to be just a plain tank top. It's got a couple of different neckline options and I've made it a few times, but I had this idea of doing basically a halter version and then have a separate little strap that kind of loops through. So this was a bit funky for me to figure out, and with everything that was going wrong, I'm surprised it turned out as well as it did. So I cut off the back portion just to be straight across in the back. And then I basically took a measuring tape across the back, up around my neck. And then with that measurement, I took 90% of that to make another binding strip. And then I made another piece of strapping the same width and looped it over the center back neck and attached it at the back of the top so that it is sort of a halter racer back kind of thing going on. Like I said, I'm really surprised that this ended up working out this well, and I really love the way that it looks with the power sports bra with all the straps going in the back. And I feel like the style of it can go with some of my like my hiking skirt and stuff like that. So not purely athletic, but also able to be worn in other ways. So that is what I have made so far from my athletic mystery bundle, and of course my pillowcase. Thank you so much for joining me. It's taken me forever to figure out how to do this video, and even today, like I started out with a totally cloudy day in the morning and then blown out sunshine in the afternoon, and now I'm losing light. So anyway, again, thank you. I appreciate you so much. And the world is crazy. Take great care of yourself. I know I say that at the end of every video, and I always mean it, and I especially mean it now. And I will see you in the next one.